It all started when police were called to the 1000 block of Silver Street here behind me for a burglary in progress. Then the suspect took off running, jumped over this fence here into this resident's backyard and entered their house through the back door. 35-year-old Harold Murphy was killed on the scene. Now this all happened here in the parking lot behind me. In a recent huffing and driving accident, two 20-year-olds plowed through the intersection here at Haynes and Anamosa, hitting 3 different vehicles before continuing north on Haynes, hitting yet another vehicle before finally coming to a stop in the ditch. You can see that we have about a foot of snow here. You can also see it behind me on the balcony. Now we can expect another 3 to 6 inches overnight. And what we know right now is that police have set a perimeter around the area. You just saw, and we can zoom back in, that you can see police officers with guns behind their cars aimed towards a house. Tonight, City Council will be voting to confirm the appointment of Lieutenant Diaz as Chief of Police. However, those close to the situation say that the mayor has received criticism for his choice. To catch the prairie dogs, the wildlife biologist set up traps with bait next to the holes. Then when the prairie dog comes up, it'll hit this lever. You want to make sure it's level with your head, right in line with your eyebrows. Make sure it doesn't wiggle around too much, and that the chin strap is secure. Today is the official kickoff of the Mustang Rally, and as you can see behind me, people are already out here showing off their cars. This is what concerns firefighters the most. This old dry brush that could easily burn out of control. I'll tell you what the long-term effects are of huffing, as well as explain the warning signs and symptoms to look out for. Just a few minutes in a chair like this, and each donation of blood can save up to 3 lives. Reporting live at the circus on top of an elephant, Stephanie Kayser. A 6-hour standoff ended Tuesday night with a 2-year-old child rescued and the suspect in handcuffs.
We are just extremely thankful that the baby was rescued. The baby is safe, all officers are safe, and the suspect is in custody.
The suspect, 32-year-old Raymond Cooney of Rapid City, barricaded himself in a house on the 900 block of Silver Street, holding a 2-year-old child hostage. It all started when police were called to the 1000 block of Silver Street here behind me for a burglary in progress. Then the suspect took off running, jumped over this fence here into this resident's backyard and entered their house through the back door.
My friend and her kids were in there as well. He let them go, released them. They didn't bring him out, so it made me, suspicious and worried even more as to why my son wasn't released.
The 2-year-old's mother, Stephanie McCloskey, said she came out of the house when she heard sirens, not thinking her life would be turned upside down.
It just scared me because at the time I didn't know what he was doing to my son. I didn't know if my son was scared or starving, or I didn't know what was wrong with him, so it was just like my world stopped.
The Rapid City Pennington County Special Response Team was called in and slowly approached the house with protective shields to hand Cooney a phone to negotiate. However, he remained uncooperative.
We believe he is armed, and we know who he is. He is wanted. There's a couple of local warrants out for him.
The SRT finally forced entry at 10:30 using distraction devices and door breach rounds, reuniting 2-year-old Carlos with his mother.
Seeing the mother be reunited with that 2-year-old was a moment that I will never forget.
It was like there was a monster in my house and they came and they got him out.
Still in shock Wednesday, McCloskey took me through her house, which has broken doors and windows.
To that monster, they needed to talk to him, and they needed him to comply, so that's the window they threw the phone in.
McCloskey says she's so thankful for the help of the police and that their presence truly made a big difference.
They brought my world back to me.
Carlos wouldn't leave his mother's side Wednesday, and McCloskey says despite being a little shaky, he has been acting normal.
He don't want to be in the house. If the door is closed, he wants it open. He'll cry to have it open. A little bit in shock.
Now she's focusing on the positive, saying the scary event brought her family closer. Good evening, Shadwell. To you, this might just be something to clean your keyboard with, but it's one of more than 1,400 potential killers in your house. To most, they are common household products, But to others, they're an easy way to get high. It's called huffing.
The trend, or has been, that we've seen is like inhaling canned air.
Teenagers and young adults are trying it without knowing the serious consequences, turning to this substance because it's cheap and easy to get.
You don't have to be 21 to go into a store and buy a can of canned air, or to buy highlighters, or to buy correction fluid.
Many of these products having no warning labels, and if they do, it's in the fine print. To get high, people sniff the chemical, usually from a plastic bag.
I've been a policeman here for 28 years now, and I've seen people ingest or huff just a variety of different substances, and it has never ceased to amaze me. It's just incredibly abusive to their bodies, and it's sad, really.
Now, Rapid City Police are seeing people huffing and getting behind the wheel, putting the public in danger.
I have seen an increase in huffing dust-off sprays, things like that. And what happens is they get an instant high when they huff that. They black out, get in an accident, or 2 or 3, and we've had them where they just bounce off the cars. And then they come to a few minutes later and no memory at all of what happened.
Rapid City Police say that driving while huffing can be worse than drinking while driving. It's like driving a 3,000-ton missile down the street with no ability to react or reason with what's in front of you. Captain Rude says teenagers are the most at risk to start huffing because they like to experiment.
Anytime that we have a teenager, that's a problem.
According to the Inhalant Abuse Prevention Program, peer pressure results in 1 in every 4 students intentionally using a common household product to get high by the time they reach 8th grade. Rapid City High School senior Yulia Melmachu says she saw it as early as 7th grade.
I actually started in middle school. I saw a bunch of people sniffing highlighters and hand sanitizer.
But to deter the effects of peer pressure, Melmachu joined Students Against Destructive Decisions, or SAD, a program in every Rapid City area high school.
Peer pressure is one of the biggest things that gets people. I feel people should try to make their own decisions, and even no matter what the cost is, because if they're real friends, they'll understand.
It's this peer pressure that starts in the middle schools and grows with each grade.
I'm definitely concerned for my peers. Sometimes wish there was more things out there to educate everyone, because I think that's the main reason why people do those type of activities, and such as huffing, is because they aren't informed what the long-term effects will be.
Tomorrow we'll tell you what those long-term effects are, as well as explain the warning signs and symptoms to look out for, as many medical professionals say that education and knowing the effects are key for prevention. Freedom, it's a word used frequently but holds significant meaning, and many Americans sacrifice for our freedom every day.
As a mother of a fallen hero, to see how many people come out to support, it impacts me in such amazing ways.
Thursday's Freedom Ride recognized those who have served and matched the faces to the heroes we hear about.
When the bullets stop flying, these scars on my face aren't magically going to disappear. You're going to carry those wounds. Limbs aren't going to grow back.
Many on the ride Thursday were veterans themselves. Jason Redmond was in the Navy SEALs for 21 years, deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. He says he's lost good friends in combat, and he himself is a wounded warrior.
I think anybody who's ever served on the battlefield, especially in frontline combat, you will carry the invisible wounds of war for the rest of your life.
Many in the audience wiping away tears as veterans and those who've lost best friends, wives and husbands, and sons and daughters told their story. Debbie Lee lost her son, Mark Lee, a second-class petty officer who was the first Navy SEAL to be killed in action in Iraq.
He could have stayed below the wall. He could have waited for backup. But his choice was to sacrifice his life. If he'd have stayed below the wall, probably half his platoon would have been killed.
Lee still remembers vividly the day she got the news.
I can tell you as a mother, it's the hardest thing to see your child's name on a granite wall.
What followed was immeasurable grief, but an immense amount of pride as well.
But when we have heroes who did what Mark did, we need to hear their stories. We need to know what people do for the freedoms that we enjoy every day.
Lee had no choice in the news she received, but says she did have a choice in what she did about it. She created America's Mighty Warriors, a charity that provides a retreat for veterans. The ride raised funds for her charity, along with Jason Redmond's organization, Wounded Wear.
The idea behind that is despite injury, despite loss, you still can overcome and live greatly.
Providing veterans such as Sergeant William Spanky Gibson specially fitted clothes after losing limbs in combat.
That changed me because I had 17 years in the Marine Corps. I was 35 years old.
Gibson became the first above-the-knee American amputee to return to combat and hopes to inspire other veterans.
It gave me an opportunity to show a lot of the young Marines, but not just them, but all service members, that if you set your mind to it, the physical limitations can be overcome.
Thanks, Chad. While the Reinholds say they never could have imagined the devastation Storm Atlas caused. And despite rumors that they wouldn't be open for summer camp this year, their determination shined through. This is their road to recovery. The devastating early October blizzard is still fresh in the minds of many western South Dakota ranchers. And for Larry and Robin Reinhold, it is a very personal tragedy, losing close to 100 horses.
You just build stories with these horses, and I think that's what makes them so special.
Horses used for summer camp that teach children valuable lessons. They are an investment of time, money, and energy, but the Reinholds say it's impossible to put a price tag on the loss. These horses were more like family members.
They have a personality.
Yeah.
It's not, yes, they are livestock, but they have a personality, and you get to know them.
The realization of what happened is still surreal.
When I look at what our kids went through and our neighbor kids went through, they will never be the same.
Elongating the grieving process as many campers arrive hoping to see their favorite horse at camp this year. But more often than not, that answer is no.
Been some tears shed, I think, as the kids come, and Larry shares the story with them of what happened and how we found the horses and just how difficult it was. And you'll see that some of those campers just wiping their eyes and as they just process what really happened.
It is a hard reality for campers to come to terms with, and a painful memory the Reinholds will never forget. Recalling the morning after the blizzard hit and discovering their horses buried under feet of snow.
To remember the count, 4 head, 8 head, 16, 36, and the numbers just kept going up.
Good, reliable camp horses, gone in a blink of an eye, bringing families and communities across the state together. The rancher relief check they received is the perfect example of people's generosity.
You look at how many people from all over pitched together to come up with that, people that we don't even know. It's touches your heart.
Jump-starting them along the road to recovery, purchasing new horses at the Black Hills Stock Show, and well-trained horses donated to them by strangers. Buying 30 to 40 horses, the Reinholds had to start with the basics, training horses like Arnold here to be ready for summer camp. Putting in long hours of riding to be able to match campers up to the right horses so that both are benefited.
Every single day, so many kids ask, like, did so-and-so make it? Did Kip make it? Did Frosty make it through the storm? Like, no. But at the same time, they're on these new horses. They're on Rock and Missy.
Making progress and bringing Rainbow back to what it was before Storm Atlas.
The blizzard was really hard. It was definitely life-changing, and really not a day goes by that I don't think about it. But at the same time, there's been like so many cool things that have happened because of the blizzard.
Creating memories with new lifelong companions.
Just to be ready for that, and because I know there is a lot of people questioning, after the storm if Rainbow would be open, and my family and I never had any doubt that we wouldn't be open.
Now, with the first few weeks of camp under their belt, the Reinholds are confident and ready for the rest of summer.
We are grateful. We are very, very grateful, and we press on.